Hey gang, I'm Paul with Stud-Pak. Welcome back to the channel. A lot of you already know how this video is going to begin. That's right. We've been getting YouTube comments, Facebook messages, text messages, and even emails asking us, Stud-Pak, where are your new hats? We finally got them. These things are awesome. They are Richardson trucker hats, a white mesh back and a khaki front, and our Stud-Pak logo is embroidered right on the front there, so it's gonna last forever. They look good when you're working. They look good when you're driving. And they look great when you're grilling. And they look awesome when you're hot tubbing. Now with all the supply chain issues right now, we don't have a bunch of these and they're gonna go fast.
Well, where can I get one?
Studpak.com, head on over and get yourself a cap. In our previous video, Jordan and I showed you every tip and trick we knew on how to successfully tile a shower. Except we forgot one tip, and that is never tile at night after you've been working all day. So we goofed right here. Completely missed it until I was doing the outro in that last video. It bugged me all weekend. It's Monday, so we're gonna get our hammer and smash it out of there. Not too bad. All right, that came out pretty good, not too bad at all. Now it did damage the Curdy a little bit, but I'm not worried about it on this one because it is so high up here, it'll never get wet. If I had to do that like down here where it might see water, I got two options. I can repair that with a piece of Curdy, or I would totally be comfortable using some liquid waterproofing membrane and patching that. Now that that's ready, let's go outside and cut our 2 pieces of tile. All right, all fixed. All right, doesn't that look so much better now that our layout continues all the way up here to the ceiling? It's the next day, I pulled the spacers out and that looks fantastic. So I mess up all the time, and a lot of times Jordan and I go back and forth about how we're gonna fix it. So if you mess up on your project, don't worry about it. Pull it out the next day and do it over. You're gonna sleep much better, just like I did last night. Let's keep moving forward with this shower project. Tomorrow, my glass contractor is going to be here to measure for this, but I'm not ready for him because I don't have the top of my curbs done. So we thought we'd put this nice plywood on top of the curbs. Isn't that going to be great in the shower?
Yeah, nice wood accent.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that is a template. So I have a nice piece of stone outside. Before we go out there and show it to you and talk about how much it cost, I thought it'd be a good idea to make a plywood template. That way I'm cutting and experimenting on this cheap wood, this scrap basically here at the job site, rather than that expensive stone. And I think, Jordan, this is gonna be the first time we cut stone on this channel, isn't that right?
It is.
Yeah, so I'm a little nervous. So before we go outside and cut that stone for the first time, let's talk about this template for a little bit. I got my square in here, number 1, made sure the inside corner is square. And then of course, this is exactly the same width as my piece of stone. My stone guy ripped it for me, but it's one long piece. We have to cut it to length, and we're gonna miter this edge right here. So I've got this just the way I wanted it. Now this isn't tight because I want a little room for grout to go in here, and I'm not tight to the wall either. I want a little room for the silicone sealant back here. If it's tight, my sealant's not gonna go in there. A little bit open, like a 1/16 of an inch, it's gonna go in there, key in, it's gonna be great. So a lot of you in the comments said you'd put this piece down first and then take this piece and put it on top of the curb. That'll work fine, but on this one, our top of the curb is gonna have a lip on it. In other words, this is gonna be wider than this. And I wouldn't have been able to get this piece of tile in there as one piece doing it like that. So we have this piece here, that's gonna butt into it, and we're gonna put tile here, and then all this gets siliconed. So now that we settled all that, let's head outside and look at our stone. All right, here's our piece of stone. We got this from the company that makes our quartz countertops. They have a yard full of remnants, and this is the perfect use for all that stuff instead of ending up in the landfill, right? Those guys love us over there, and they were happy to do this. Happy after I gave them $180, right? That's what it costs, but to us, it's very well worth it. Instead of tiling the top, we're gonna have 2 pieces of solid quartz. Now here are our templates. We're gonna put them right on top, but first let me talk about this. Obviously this is a finished edge. They polished these 2 edges for me, but the bottom is not finished. So we have to use it just like this. And I say that because sometimes you look for the best edge, right? We don't have a best edge. This is what we're looking at right here. So all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this end, 90 degrees, line it up with that right-hand side. Then we're gonna do the other side, and you can see I labeled these. This is where the shower door will be, and that's the side by the toilet. And there we go, just like that. I'm gonna make a mitered cut there and there, freehand with my grinder. And you'll notice I have the shelf from the Schluter niche out here. When I was working on these templates, I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool if the shelf and the niche was the same material as our curb? So I brought this out here, check it out. It just fits.
Wow.
I'm gonna have just enough material to do that, and that's gonna look killer. But before I do all that, I gotta cut all this, and I'm pretty nervous about it, I gotta say. To give myself an advantage, I went and bought a new, this is a rigid diamond mesh blade for my grinder. We're gonna do this freehand. I didn't wanna trust that old blade that I have. Now I can't blame the tool, it's all on me, right? So let's get suited up with our goggles, our hearing protection, let's cut some stone. Guys, got my hearing protection, got my goggles, got the extension cord we made in one of our videos, but check it out, nothing. Got my tester, I got power, but it's not working. Now, right after we filmed that little segment talking about this stone, this grinder fell off right here, and I was like, oh man, that didn't sound good, and it must have broken inside. Something's rattling.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, why don't you try banging it just to see if it helps? Maybe you can knock something back into place.
I don't know. Rats.
This stuff happens more often than you would think.
Yep, and I've got another one at home, a Bosch grinder. I guess I'm gonna have to go get it. Or we throw this on the, circular saw and cut that by hand.
Ooh.
What do you think?
I like the circular saw idea.
And just clamp a straight edge on there?
Sure.
All right, let's try it out, bud. All right, guys, here's the circular saw I'm gonna use. It's an old Porter cable I've had for 20 years. It's been through thick and thin. Now, what you'll notice that's different about this saw, the blade is on the left, and I bought it like that intentionally because I am right-handed. If I'm operating the saw like this, it's easy for me. I have a line of sight right to the blade. If the blade were on the right, I'm crossed over like this, trying to watch the blade, and it's uncomfortable for me. So I bought a saw with the blade on the left. But there's a couple things you gotta know. Number one, the screw is left-hand thread to attach the blade. And then usually when you put a blade on a saw and the blade's on the right, you put it on just like that and you see the label. Not on this saw, the label's towards the motor. You gotta pay attention to that rotation, right? There are these arrows right here. If I put it on this way, on this saw, it'd be going backwards. So it does matter. Let's mount this up and start cutting some quartz. All right, check it out. I'm ready to tighten that. This saw came with a wrench stored in the handle, and after 20 years, I still got it. Should be all we need. Okay. Ready? Here we go. Pretty good.
Yeah. Why'd you stop?
The blade's awesome. but I can tell it's hitting the wood, so I think I want to put some spacers under here so I'm not into that plywood.
All right.
I'm just off the wood. Yep. All right.
What now?
The blade's out of balance. The blade is thicker than a saw blade, so the outer washer isn't engaging the shaft, if that makes sense. So let me regroup. All right, we regrouped. I had to run home in 5 o'clock traffic and get my backup Bosch grinder. I actually like this one a little better. It's got a paddle switch instead of that goofy switch on the other one, and complete with the taped up cord. But let me suit up again and we'll get this stone cut. Done. Boom. All right, stress level way down again. Let me take all this stuff off. That cut is a million times better than the first one. That was totally worth the trip running home and get this grinder. But now we're losing daylight. We got to get these installed. Let's run inside and we're going to show you how we do that. Check it out. There we go. That looks fantastic. I can't wait to see the final product. And you may be asking yourself, why are we going to all the trouble to put a stone top on the curb instead of tile? Well, there are a couple reasons. Number one, we think it looks a lot better. And when we have our little shelf right here, that's made of the same material and ties it all together, it's going to look awesome. The other reason I like to do it is, this is pretty thick, 2 centimeters, about 3/4 of an inch. It gives my glass guy more depth to put an anchor in. It's key that he doesn't drill into this waterproofing, right? So he's got all this to drill into with his core bit. He'll put in a plastic anchor and attach the glass divider here. And of course, the door gets hinged off the wall. So can't wait to see how that looks. Now we're going to attach it using the same ProLite thin set that we used. We're going to mix up a little bit, put it on here with a notch trowel, set these. They're going to use these orange wedges, put them under here, and give it just the smallest amount of pitch back into the shower. Not as much as the pan, obviously, just enough so water doesn't sit on this side of the glass. Let's go outside and mix up a little bit of thin set. All right, cool. Hey, bud, I got an idea. While this slakes, why don't we head in the bathroom and knock those leveling wedges off the wall?
Let's do it.
All right. Check it out, guys. Klein Tools reached out to us and sent us a bunch of tools. Who knew they made dead blow hammers? Check it out. Klein right there, made in the USA. So we thought this would be a perfect initiation for this dead blow hammer, knocking those wedges off. All right, now we save these for our next time. We are ready to go, gang. We got these back buttered. We notched the curb. Even took the margin trowel like we showed you. Cleaned off the excess along the edges so it doesn't spill out and get on our floor. Nothing to it but to do it. All right, we use the leveling wedges on the outside to pitch it in towards the drain like we talked about, so we won't get any standing water on here. Now I just want to make sure this inside corner is square. Grab my framing square. All right, I'm a little bit off. I can cheat this one out. Perfect, just like that. Get it perfect and we're out of here. Check that out, doesn't that look phenomenal? The thin set is set up, rock solid, and we are ready to have this measured for glass. Now, if you don't have the resources to have a custom curb made like this, the home centers actually sell marble thresholds. Now, they're only 36 inches long, 4 to 5 inches wide, but they're less than $20. So if you can make that work on your job, it's a great alternative. And you know what? I think I hear Jason knocking on the door. Let me go grab him and get this glass measured. We're back. Our thin set has set up. Our curb is nice and strong. And I mentioned that Jason was going to be here today. Jason's with Abstract Glass. He's here to measure for our doors. You want to walk us through your process?
Sure. All right, so first case scenario is we've got a telephone booth style shower here. You guys have done your hard work in keeping the tile level, which is crucial in any of these projects, especially if you're trying to stay on budget. You got to have level tile. So
Yeah.
that looks great. Everything's plumbed out well.
Yeah, the tile leveling systems they have now are just such an aid to DIYers, I think.
Right, definitely. This is something you can do at your house, but by yourself. But tiling up a wall and mudding that is not for me. I'm a glass guy.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not into the tile.
Okay.
But it's prepared well and it looks good. As you can see, we got the level, the laser level out, and it's marking all of our spots, which we've pre-drawn out. This is going to give us a perfect 90 degree.
So you're right in the middle of that stone in both directions. All right.
Correct. And your curve here is at a good slant. That's important. Not too much and not too little, but enough so that the water sheets down the interior of the glass and then defers back into the shower. So that's great.
So if it's too much, I imagine you could have trouble with the door, right?
Correct.
Is there a sweep on the bottom?
There is a polycarbonate sweep on the bottom of the door, and that's going to help defer the water again into the shower. So
if this were too steep, that sweep would get hung up out here.
yeah, and that does happen a lot of times. And what you end up doing is cutting. It's a plastic fin underneath the polycarbonate. You end up cutting that off, and you're asking for trouble. Basically, water is going to egress out of the unit and then cause trouble.
Sure.
These are all going back to level conditions and appropriate curb angle. All these things are going to help the shower life and the construction hold up over the years.
So we're going to have a fixed panel here.
Right.
How high, Jason?
Well, that is a good question. We got down here on my marks 73 to 75. And the reason I've got that is because we're trying to keep within a budget. And so what we can do is put in stock doors. They have preset sizes that lower the cost of fabrication. That's a big secret in the industry, which is now not a secret.
Cool, okay.
All right, so 73, 75 coming up here. It gives us a good height, and we're gonna let the pre-engineered stock door determine where that height is. Normally, 75 right here would be kind of tight, but we have this open space here, so the water and the vapor and everything's going to be able to exit the shower, not really cause any type of damage to this, which is unusual.
Right. What are some of the nightmares you've seen on projects?
Out of level conditions.
All right, so that's key. You already mentioned that. All
Right. Also, a lot of times the toilet, it will be too close to either the door opening or some other type of operation of the unit. And that causes a big problem. You have to get really imaginative with how you build it.
So we're going to have a fixed panel here, and then when we turn the corner, we're going to have, I think, a 7-inch panel.
Correct.
And that's going to accommodate a 28-inch wide stock door. Correct? Cool. And then you were also talking about the chrome hardware. We're going chrome in here, but you're having problems getting other finishes.
Yeah, everybody's having trouble finding the right types of finishes. The popular finishes today are your brushed gold, your brushed bronze, your satin gold, satin brass, these types of finishes. They're backed up till November, December.
Okay.
I mean, you can't even get it. So a lot of people are opting for either flat black, which is kind of a neutral type color. But what I'm doing for my clients is powder coating.
That's cool.
The higher end clients, you know, who want that specific, you know, usually there's a designer or somebody involved. They have to have that brushed gold or the brushed brass. Yeah, we're powder coating it.
Can they custom mix powder coat colors?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
You can get the color of your hat. You can
So you could
lime
bring
green.
them the trim off your shower, and they could match the trim on the glass exactly.
Correct.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, you about done?
Yeah, we're
All
wrapped
right.
up.
Cool, man. And I guess we'll see this door, what, tomorrow or next day?
It's in the truck.
Okay. Thanks, Jason. We sure appreciate you coming by.
All right, buddy.
All right. All right, gang, that was great. Jason was in and out of here. We got all the glass on order. But before he comes back, we have a few things we have to do before he installs the glass. Obviously, we have to finish the niche. We didn't finish it yet because there was a design change on the back. We've ordered some beautiful glass tile. So we're gonna put that in there, trim it out with some trim, put our shelf in there. Obviously, we have to grout it, put our shower trim up, and come on down here to the floor with me. We need this tile here on both sides, and we're actually gonna use the same tile for the back of the niche on the front of the curb, kind of pick up that motif. That was Jordan's idea. We all gave it a thumbs up. That was awesome. And we're gonna show you every one of those details in our next video on this master bathroom shower rebuild. So don't be afraid to smash something out the next day if it didn't turn out the way you liked it. And also don't be afraid to smash that like button for me and Jordan. We super appreciate that. Get down below in the comments. Ask us a question. We read them all, or leave us one of your pro tips. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next Stud Pack video.